The big snake stood up half of its body and looked down at them coldly. "Next, it's your turn." As for Akutsu Shinichiro, he was fighting with Yuan Hao and Xia Lingling. Compared with mutants like Kamiya Nagaimichi and Daikokai Engine, Akutsu Shinichiro's ability was mediocre. He was just an ordinary enhanced mutant using a metal bat commonly used by street thugs. At the beginning, Xia Lingling could even take a certain initiative in the battle. Her strange power was very terrifying, which was extremely rare among enhanced mutants. Being able to counter Akutsu's weapon with a simple body. This is all due to Yuan Hao behind her. Yuan Hao looks weak and has no fighting power, but he just stood there shouting to Xia Lingling to cheer her up. Come on, Lingling, you are the best!" As he cheered her up, Xia Lingling's pupils also glowed with a strange purple light, and her strength and speed were greatly improved. Akutsu knew that Yuan Hao was a nanny, but Xia Lingling was in front of him, so he had no chance to break through. So he adopted the simplest and most straightforward way of fighting, to kill Xia Lingling. As the battle continued, the speed of his metal bat swinging became faster and faster. Slowly, the initiative on the battlefield changed. Xia Lingling began to fall behind in the power contest again and again. A worried look flashed in Yuan Hao's eyes. How could this happen? Lingling is clearly invincible. His fair little face puffed up in dissatisfaction. I must not have cheered loud enough. I have to work harder. So he put his hands to his mouth and shouted even louder. A strange purple light appeared on the surface of Xia Lingling's body. She opened her mouth, and the two sharp fangs began to grow longer. The nails of her 10 fingers also extended 10 centimeters, and each one was as black as a dagger. At this moment, she looked like a vampire. Ah! Xia Lingling roared and rushed towards Akutsu. Akutsu laughed wildly, waving the metal bat with both hands, smashing her body wildly. The game should end here. Akutsu Shinichiro, a reinforcement-type mutant with the ability code Extreme Hero. As a gangster who has been hanging around the streets of Chiba for many years, fighting is like a commonplace for him. What he longs for is the heroic spirit of becoming more courageous and invincible. His ability is just like his person. As long as the battle continues, his strength will become stronger. It can even be said that as long as a fight lasts long enough, his growth will have no upper limit, and he can even fight against the mutants of the Epsilon level. Of course, this is only a theoretical statement. But when facing an opponent with a similar strength level, as long as he can hold on to the end, he will definitely win. And now, Akutsu's heroic value has accumulated enough. Akutsu's baseball bat and Xia Lingling collided again, but this time, he cunningly avoided Xia Lingling's claws and hit her side with the baseball bat. It is hard to imagine that a blunt baseball bat can tear a person's body apart. However, the reality is that when the speed is fast enough, the power of a baseball bat is not much different from that of a samurai sword. So Xia Lingling's body was cut off directly from the waist. In her stunned eyes, her body was split into two and rushed out under the action of inertia. Bang! The two halves of the body fell to the ground. Yuan Hao's face turned even paler. He clenched his fists and shouted, "You bastard! You dare to hurt my Lingling!" Huh? Hurt? Akutsu looked at Yuan Hao speechlessly, holding a baseball bat. She was already cut in half and you call it an injury? Soon, Akutsu understood why Yuan Hao said that. Because Xia Lingling, who was lying on the ground, suddenly had hundreds of blood-colored thin tubes extending from the middle of her two halves and then connected together. As the blood-colored tubes contracted, her two halves were firmly combined, and even every muscle was tightly sutured. However, through the horrible wound, you can see that the flesh and blood are lifeless, like zombie meat that has been frozen for many years. Xia Lingling climbed up from the ground. Her expression became cold and terrifying, and she stared at Akutsu. What? Akutsu said lightly. It turned out to be a zombie. Yuan Hao, the leader of the mutants in Sighing City, is a control-type ability user. Ability code, Zombie Manipulator. Xia Lingling leaped into the air and returned to Yuan Hao's side. Yuan Hao came to her with a nervous look on his face and reached out to touch her body. Honey, are you okay? Fortunately, you are dead, otherwise you would have been killed just now. He hugged Xia Lingling's arm with a happy face, but this expression made people feel creepy after considering Xia Lingling's zombie identity. Sure enough, it was right to kill you at the beginning, he said with a gentle face. Moreover, if Jia Lingling is dead and is a corpse, then who is speaking with her body? This kind of thing makes people feel disgusted and scared as long as you think about it in detail. Akutsu looked disgusted. It turns out to be a dead pervert, and a schizophrenic dead pervert. Even with the bonus of the zombie's undead power, Yuan Hao's ability is limited. Akutsu's baseball bat and Xia Lingling collided again, but this time it was her head. Everyone knows how to kill zombies, and with the continued battle with Akutsu Shinichiro, who can continuously improve his combat power, there is no suspense about the outcome of this battle. And Zhuo Feiyu also died in the mouth of the big snake. At this time, Deng Shentong, who was still in the back, finally couldn't stand it anymore. It's almost over. They are not on the same level as the people of Eclipse Moon. If they continue to fight, they will just die in vain. It's time for us to act. Zhu Zheng received Deng Shentong's application for battle, but he was still a little hesitant. But only 5 members of Eclipse Moon have shown up. There are still 8 people in the dark. It seems that they also know our plan and have second-hand preparations. Deng Shentong smiled slightly. But we can't expect to have 100% control of all intelligence in every battle. Such a mission is too boring. Zhu Zheng looked at the big screen and saw that the western and northern fronts were almost collapsed. If the Tianshan team is not allowed to take action, everyone on the field will die. So he nodded. Okay, you are allowed to fight. Deng Shentong showed a confident smile at the corner of his mouth, and he glanced at his team members. It's our turn to play. This time, complete the task beautifully. Akutsu walked in front of Yuan Hao and pointed the bloody baseball bat in his hand at his head. Hey, let me kill you too, then go down and reunite with your woman. In another direction, Yu Zhengyang and Zhuo Feiyu were defeated by the snake Shengu Ne Dao in a 2-on-1 situation. They were both killed and swallowed by it. Akutsu raised the metal bat in his hand high and dropped it hard. But suddenly, he felt his arms soften and the strength in his body seemed to be drained from his body. Dang! The metal bat fell on the charred land. He lowered his head and looked at his chest. Very abruptly, a deep dent appeared in his chest. Wow! A large mouthful of blood gushed out of his mouth, and then a sharp pain came from his chest. It was as if a big hand dug into his chest, and then squeezed his lungs hard and crushed them. Shengune Dao restored his human appearance, and Akutsu's change made his pupils shrink. He understood that the real special forces of the Jiangnan district had appeared. Those people were their biggest threat. Kamiya Nagaimichi turned his head and looked into the fog in the distance, but before he could prepare for defense, he felt an unbearable pain in his lower abdomen. It was as if his internal organs were put in a washing machine and stirred crazily, and then there were many steel nails inside. Wow! He lost all his strength at once and fell to his knees, spitting blood. In the depths of the fog, a tall and strong figure slowly walked out. It was a man with a beard. What a great ability! Unfortunately, if you meet me, you will only be slaughtered, he said very calmly. One of the 2 vice captains of the God Squad, the Divine Fist Liao Honglei, appeared. With just one blow, he crippled Kamiya Nagaimichi and Akutsu Shinichiro. Although the 2 had experienced a big battle before, his amazing strength can still be seen. Unlike the western battlefield, only Liao Honglei came to the northern battlefield. Not all the people of Eclipse Moon showed up, and it was impossible for all the God Squad to go out. According to the algorithm of the Combat Command Center, Liao Honglei's ability is the most suitable for dealing with Kamiya Naigai Dao and Akutsu Shinichiro. Because his ability is a very rare space system combined with his own powerful Bajikwan, it has derived an extremely deadly killing method, the 100-step Divine Fist. Within 100 steps, his attack can ignore all physical defenses and even penetrate heavy armor and skin and directly attack the internal organs. It can be said that he is a melee killer of mutants. Liao Honglei didn't say much nonsense. He didn't even look at Yuan Hao, who was still alive. He stood firmly and punched the fallen Kamiya Naigai Dao. In the depths of the thick fog where Wei Ming was, a pair of cold brown eyes slowly opened. Sure enough, it appeared, the God Squad. Just as Liao Honglei's fist blasted out, there was a violent tumbling in the thick fog, and suddenly a huge three-headed dog with flames all over its body jumped out, roaring and rushing towards him. This is a 3-meter-tall and 5 or 6-meter-long three-headed demon dog with red flames all over its body, making the surrounding air dry. However, this flame had no effect on the mist created by yin-yang magic. Liao Honglei's pupils shrank. He did not expect that the other party actually had someone in the dark. It seems that no one is a fool, and they all know that they have to keep a backhand. Then, let's see who has a stronger backhand. Liao Honglei punched out, aiming at the torso of the three-headed demon dog. But the body of the three-headed demon dog just twisted strangely. Although the color became a little dim, it still rushed towards Liao Honglei. Seeing this scene, Zhu Zheng's expression became serious. "It's a release-type ability user." Tu Yunli frowned. "This is a bit bad. No one thought that the other party still had this trick, and judging from the power of the three-headed demon dog, the person hiding in the dark is very powerful. They thought that it would be most appropriate to let Liao Honglei deal with the enemies on the northern route. Who would have thought that the other party would arrange a backhand as if they had guessed what they were doing?" Kamiya Nagaimichi and Akutsu Shinichiro, who were knocked to the ground, covered their chests and abdomens. Although they were seriously injured and coughed up blood, they did not have the slightest fear, but laughed wildly. Akutsu said, "No wonder my fortune today is a little lucky." Kamiya Nagaimichi said coldly, "But it will not affect the result." Liao Honglei nimbly dodged the attack of the three-headed demon dog. He saw the fog on the opposite side rolling, and several tall shadows slowly walked out. It was a middle-aged man in a suit, with a slicked-back hair and gold-rimmed glasses. Beside him followed a group of supernatural beasts that were obviously condensed from supernatural powers. A giant ape that was 4 meters tall and covered in gold, a fox with 6 tails and a silver-white body, a blue bird with a blurred figure surrounded by a whirlwind, and a gray crow floating on his shoulder. The Truon Myoji of Osu Kanon Temple, Jinguji Seiichiro, a cadre level of the Eclipse Group. Jinguji Seiichiro put his hands in his pockets and looked at Liao Honglei impatiently. "Your ability seems to be specifically used to restrain close combat. So what if you fight me?" Liao Honglei said, "You can try.